just to start off the rip, dude, Chris, it was so funny that that was what caught you. We'll dive into that because that was something that was so easy, and I did it from a posture of giving, right?
Yeah.
Like in a real thing. So yeah, we'll riff on that. But I think that's so. I think it's beautiful that that's what caught you because it was a nice gift to give Miguel.
Yeah, and it just demonstrates it demonstrates both things quickly and easily.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, sounds great. Well, let's get it rocking then. You
All
want to
right,
start
so
us off?
yeah, all right, so you go out to watch whales,
Watch whales. Yep. We love
and
watching whales.
you found this dude like you're somewhere in the wilds. I think you guys were in Mexico.
Yeah.
All
We
right,
were
so
so what we thought, okay, what you should do, right? The best thing you should do when you're trying to have another baby is go to the place where there's the biggest, most beautiful babies in the world, which is Cabo. When the whales go and they breed down in Cabo. So Ray, my beautiful wife and business partner, we were like, hey, we should go down to Cabo and watch the whales for the season. So when you go down there, there's a myriad of different whale watching, teams. And what they'll do is they'll like try and get you on their boat to take you out. And there's one guy, our friends that live down there, they're actually Mavericks from that group where we met on Necker. So Damien, he was like, you have to call Miguel. Miguel is the best whale whisperer, and he's incredible at finding a whale anywhere. And I was like, okay, let's call him.
and
And
so
so,
at this point, Miguel's a little bit
mhm,
of a secret, though. I mean, no, you
is
got to know somebody to get to Miguel at this point.
yeah, you got to know the right guy because there's like hundreds of them, right? And so some people have crappy boats, some people have like really nice boats. Miguel's just a normal boat, fisherman boat, and so he's the unkept secret. And so I call him and I go, "Hey Miguel, I got your number. Can you take us out on Tuesday?" He's like, "Absolutely, sir. I'll take you out on Tuesday, and it's $35 a person." I was like, "Oh, that's not much. Okay, perfect." So Chris, we get on his boat. He takes us out there, and we're out in the water for maybe 15 minutes. And Miguel does one of these things, and we look out on the horizon, and I'm like, what is he even looking at? And we can't see anything. And all of a sudden, he just floors it in this little fishing boat. And we're like, whew. And we fly out, and we see this finally this little mist, right, like this is like, oh my gosh, there's a whale right there. And as soon as we pull up to this thing, this whale just launches out of the water, like boom. And we go crazy, we're cheering, we're going nuts. Whale splashes down and Miguel's like, yes, that's it. And then we look around and we're like, there's nobody else here. None of the other boats know how to find this thing, right? And
Right,
so
right.
then all of a sudden we see all the boats kind of coming this way, and this whale's jumping. Like we're going crazy, obviously, because I've never seen anything like that. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's magical. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen on this earth. And the size of a bus just shooting out of the water. Anyway, now all the boats are around there. They're kind of watching, and Miguel looks again, and he's like, there's too many people here. Let's go. And I'm like, okay. So he floors it again, and we don't know what he's looking at. Anyway, long story short, he shoots down. He finds another empty spot. I'm like, I don't know where he's going. And then we see this huge tail, big tail come out of the water, like 30 feet from the boat.
Wow.
Like 30 feet from the boat. I'm like, Mikhail, how do you do this? And he's like, oh, this is my thing. I know how to do this. And he goes, wait, and I'm like, what are we? And there's like eight of us on the boat. He goes, this side of the boat. Watch on this side of the boat. Boom, whale shoots out of the water again and breaches. And he can like see this. Like he's literally a whale whisperer. And so, at this point, Chris, I'm just like, Miguel, I cannot believe you're charging $35 a head to do this, man. This is insane. You have such a beautiful gift. And I think that if you were to do this differently or market it differently, you could probably charge $150 a head for this thing, man. You are so good at this and you're so gifted, and look, there's no one else here. And like you have it. And he was like, well, senor, I don't know how to market myself. What do I do? Um, and I go, well, you need like a website or something. And he goes, oh, I don't know how to make a website. And I was like, I got you. I got you. So I take out my phone, I snap one little picture of him, and I'm like, here, I'll make you a website. And he was like, that's so nice. And actually, to be honest, there's a few other people that he's been on this tour with where they're like, Miguel, we'll help you market yourself better, right? So we're driving, and he's like, you can see he's really excited, but he also isn't like fully invested. Like, oh yeah, is somebody really going to give me
He's
a
a little
website?
skeptical because other people made these promises and didn't deliver.
Right. So I'm like, Miguel, this is like 6 minutes, maybe 5 minutes after I tell him this, Chris, and I pull out Manus, which is my favorite AI platform for building these things. And I pop up this web, and I'll show you this, and we can actually, I'll show this to the team so they can see it. I pop up this website that says Meet Miguel the Whale Whisperer. And it says you can text him. And there's the picture I made of Miguel.
So you're doing this while you're on a boat. I mean, you thought of this. You said, "Let me do a website." You took a picture, and about 5 6 minutes later, you're showing them this thing.
I'm showing him this thing, and I linked it to all the testimonials that we said. I put all these pictures on there for him. I wrote the sales copy for him. I built this entire landing page, and it's sent to him, and he's looking at it. He's tearing up. He's like, "What is this?" And I go, "This is how you can change the trajectory of what you're charging. So you're not charging $35 anymore. You're now charging 150 to 200 for this. Because look
Nice.
at you. You are the whale whisperer. And so I show him that, Chris, and the crazy thing about that, he called us because we took him out like three other times. Obviously, I'm like, you don't charge us that.
I was gonna say, has he charged you
You
an
don't
extra?
charge us that. But
Right.
I go, how's it working? How's the website working? He goes, Senor, I made like $150 a person. I was able to do so much more. And I was like, well, and you can see his boat had like the next time we went out, his boat had new blankets, it had some extra food, some other things on it. He said he'd done some stuff for his family. And it's that micro shift for somebody like a whale watcher in Cabo San Lucas. That's enough to like that's enough to shift the paradigm for them.
Changed
So
his life.
change his life. And that is something that can happen all the time. In fact, the first time I started using AI, that was all I was doing. I was in, we take Ubers and travel around the world all the time, as do you. And one of the things that I love to do is help an Uber driver think of 20 different ways to make extra money. Because all of them are out there scrapping and they're scraping for it, right? So whenever I get into a good conversation with them, which is almost always, I always ask them why they're doing it, right? What do you love? And where did I learn this, right?
Yeah.
From you. I was doing this. I actually was probably doing this before your
Well,
book, but
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna take you a different
yeah,
direction because while you were hanging out at our house and you just did darn near the same thing for Wendy. You set up a website for her on Music Soul while we were up late at night drinking bourbon.
yeah, totally, totally.
Can you? How long? I didn't ask you that. I don't remember what that website is. Can you pull that up real
Musical.
quick?
Musicsoul.com. Yeah. Musicsoul.com was one that we popped up pretty quickly from an idea that she has. What a beautiful,
And she
beautiful
she didn't have any
mhm.
kind of a website at all before. She didn't know how to stand it up. She didn't know how to develop it. She didn't know what pictures to put on it. And you
Yeah,
stood that thing
she
up while we were hanging out at the house.
drinking some really good whiskey, which I cannot wait to order. Yeah,
You
I would
you don't have to
say
order that stuff. You just got to know somebody else to send it to you.
I think one of the things too, she has actually, you know what? Wendy's working on this one. We'll edit that part real fast because she might be, let me see if I can find it. But she didn't know she had a deck. She had a pitch deck.
She had a pitch deck. She
And
didn't know how to stand up a website.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And that that site, I mean, she's trying to raise hundreds of millions of dollars for this company, right? So
And
That
CJ,
is,
if you need to find it later, you can find that and splice that in, right?
yeah, we'll spice that in.
Yeah,
But yeah,
100%. We're losing you, Sammy. Give it just a second.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was me or. All right, there we go. All right, Sammy, yeah, you froze up for a second, but I think we got you back now.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, the thing about that, Chris, is that website was built from a pitch deck. And when people have just one asset and they're trying to raise money or they're trying to really get a piece of content in to move the needle on a big business, most of the time people are so ill-equipped with what they have, right? And no one wants to look at a pitch deck that isn't dynamic anymore. And so what we did with Windy, and actually here I've got that pulled up, we can show you real fast too. We popped up this thing, and here's the cool thing. Not only did I help her do this, she did a majority of this designing on her own. She did all this before, and she goes, "Oh, can I link this up to my website?" And I watched her as somebody that is pretty novice with working inside code. Like the stuff that this website does is very impressive. This was an image that it created with her and for her. It put all this together, and this would be a website. We put this up in about an hour. This website here would probably cost 10 to 15 grand just for the base piece of it. And then if you were to look at all the different pieces of it with the videos and all the other stuff that it embedded in there instantaneously, that's what's crazy about this is just one tool. The crazy thing is this would be a 30 or $40,000 website that people can make in-house with very little experience, just the imagination. And so that's what, she has such a brilliant vision for Music Soul. Once we put that up for her, it changed the trajectory of her confidence on what she could do to pitch, right?
Well,
So
not
now
only
she,
the amount of money, but the amount of time that she would have had to mess around with different developers and go back and forth, and
yeah.
that's probably a few weeks of development as well.
Oh, easily. I mean, depending on what crappy team you end up using, I mean, if you have to offload it, it's months. I just talked to one of our new clients, uh, who's actually probably coming to your house. He has an incredible coffee company that he's going to bring out. Like the cleanest coffee. It's beautiful. He paid $75,000 for an app, and it's still not done. He's been working on it for 4.5 months. And in 20 minutes, I go, "Here, does the app need to do this, this, and this?" And I sent him a prototype on that. And he was like, "Ugh, what am I doing?" So the amount of time that it saves people is, I mean, that's unbelievable at the pace of which things are. And here's one thing too. Remember Steph on Necker Island that was with us?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this story, but we went on a walk with Richard around the island. He was just showing us all the amazing places on that island. And we got to talking about one of the things that I wanted to do, which was buy some land in Mexico. And I was like, it's hard to get land there because it's one of the things that they don't want gringos coming in and buying up land. So they make it really hard. And Steph goes, "Hey, I know how to help you buy land through your company. Do you think that would be useful?" And so I was like, "Whoa, whoa, wait! Before you tell me, let me just record this." So I had on these meta glasses,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I pulled these guys out that have the camera on them, right?
yep.
So I recorded it. I recorded our conversation. Now get this. This is where it gets wild. I recorded the conversation on my meta glasses. I had it synced up to a transcriber as we were walking. It transcribed the whole conversation. And then from there, it made a website. It was from tourist to title because that's a billion-dollar industry. People want to do this. And it popped up this website from tourist to title while we were on the walk. The other thing that's crazy about it, so it gave us three different tiers on how you can buy land. So I didn't think of this. It's the playbook. So this would just be how you do it. Then there's the concierge. Will do it for you. Then there's the partnership where we buy the land and we buy it with you. So we're actually a partner of it. and it talked about Steph. It literally pulled everything about Steph from her other websites that she has. I didn't tell it to do this. I kind of prompted a lot deeper, and that's one thing we can talk about because you really do need to have a good, strong vision for this. But after I did this, this was a conversation. The nuttiest thing about this, Chris, this is hooked up to my Facebook account before we were done walking. This website was done, the copy was done, the packages were done, and I had an offer before we were done walking because it was
Wow.
already on Facebook. That, I mean, it's the speed to implementation, it's unprecedented. And that was what was crazy. We were done walking and I sat down at lunch with her. We were all sitting there, as you, me, and Wendy, we're all at the big table. And one of my friends, he saw that site and he goes, "How much is that concierge service?" And I had to lean to Steph and I go, "I don't know what we're charging." And she goes, "I don't know, charge him 4 grand." I go, "Okay." And I got on, I just messaged him. I was like, "Nate, it's 20 grand." And he goes, "Send me the Stripe payment. Is that Stripe payment working on there?" And so before we were done walking, we'd made 20 grand on an idea, a video, and a prayer. So that's what's nuts about the speed to implementation in this day and age, right?
Right. Right.
It's just
Right.
nuts.
Yeah. Tactical advantage.
Yeah, the
Perfect. I
tactic.
love it. All
Hmm.
right. Sweet. Sweet.
So
You hit the high points, bro. That was perfect.
cool, cool, cool. And I think one of the things too, I was wondering when it comes to this being taught to people like you and the groups of people that you touch on, I thought it was funny because you're like, "Sammy, I want to do something with you guys. And I think we got to teach our people." I was laughing because me and Ray, we just think it's so funny. Out of the hundreds of thousands of millions of people that could teach this to you, why do you want us to teach it to you in your team?
Oh, so the answer to that is simple. Um, because it's fun for you and
Yeah.
delightful, and
Mm.
there's nothing more energetic than doing something that's fun. I mean, yeah, I'm listening to the Lex Friedman podcast. I can't think of the dude's name. He invented OpenClaw.
Mm.
And Lex was like, "How did you do this? How did you do this?" And he says, "I was just having fun with it. I was playing with it." And then he says the magic words, "It's hard to compete with somebody who's just there to have fun." So with you, it's energy, it's fun, it's a delightful experience, and then the whole thing just like it's almost becomes a video game. Like you're playing this great video game, but the video game translates directly into life. And the fact that it's going to make you more successful and more prosperous financially is like a secondary benefit.
Mm.
Because if something's making you more prosperous, but it's sucking the life out of you, it's blood money. You don't want to do it anymore. You get sick of it. You don't want to get up in the morning. You dread it, and late at night you regret it. But if it's fun, if you're having a ball doing it, then the secondary benefit is you make 20 grand in an hour. The primary benefit is life is just that much more fun. You meet interesting people. You get to
Yeah.
hang out at Necker Island, and you're riding on a boat to Necker, and there's this guy sitting across from you on the boat, and he's bouncing around. He's all energetic, and somebody tells you he's a DJ, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get my energy level up, keep up with this dude, and then you just start running into delightful people. And so
Yeah.
that's why I want to do it with you guys, because it has been so much fun. And the serendipity is lined up.
Totally.
We had a great time in Necker, and Wendy throws out to you guys, like, you got to come stay at our house. And
I
you guys
know.
happen to be in Vegas when we're here, which is unlikely because we travel all the
Unlikely.
time. And then you
Yeah.
come to the house, and then the airline screws you up, and
You
you
say an
stay an
extra
extra
day.
day unplanned, and so we're hanging out, we're doing more stuff. You got the little bambino running around in the backyard, and he discovers how much fun it is to stand in the jacuzzi and shoot
Oh,
the water
yeah.
jets at your rear end because he doesn't know any better.
Totally. The
He's like,
serendipity
"Hey,
is where
you guys should try this. This is great. This feels great." And we're like, "No, we're not going to do it. It's year three. You can do that. We can't do it."
he's like, "This feels great right here." We're like, "Whoa, yeah, yeah, totally."
Yeah, I wish I was at the age where I could get away with that in public again.
Yeah. One of the things too, like I think it's an amazing time for founders right now. And it's really interesting because we've been doing a lot of consulting on legacy founders, and a description or a definition of a legacy founder to us is somebody that is has their company for sometimes between 10 to 20 years. They've run their company up to about 15 to 20 million in revenue, and they didn't have any automations to the extent that we've done. Many of their things are in file cabinets. They're run like our government. It's
Yeah,
archaic. And I
yeah,
was like, and I
I can
get
tell you
in and
about
I
that.
talk to, I was gonna say, you know all about that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you bury papers in a hole in a cave in the ground. That's about where things are at with some of these companies. And I come in and then I can take one look at somebody's company at 30,000 feet and be like, how miserable are you with your company? And they'll be like, so miserable. And it's always because even though they might be the CEO or the founder or the boss, they're still in the weeds and they haven't automated anything. Their team's not equipped with what this new technology is. And what we'll do is we'll sit with them and get them 40 hours back in 15 minutes looking at how they do things. And an example
Right,
of that would be most of my CEOs, they hate emails. Like I actually think I have a histamine response to emails if I were
right,
to
yeah,
look at them, right? So I show them how to use an MCP that is designed to go in and manage not one email, but up to 10. And so if they're on a walk, they can say, hey, can you clean out all the subscriptions from my emails that I haven't looked at in 3 months? Could you draft and maybe write the responses in my voice to the ones that are coming through? Also pull from my calendar and make sure I haven't missed anything. And if I have, put it on there. And in fact, make this just a scheduled thing that happens every day for me so I don't miss that. And then they go about their walk. That one little thing I just said saves those people 20 to 30 hours just from that. And then we stack three or four more things on there, and all of a sudden they're happy again. They're like, oh my gosh, we can work on this part of the company. I didn't know I was drowning on 20 hours of just messaging people back and keeping people in check in my company. And that's the power of doing it in a way. And here's what we tell them too. I love that you said that we bring the fun back, because what we do is like, hey, I'm gonna get you so much fucking time back.
yeah,
Do not fill it with work.
yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah. I
job
remember you saying that. Yeah,
It's like your job is to go have so much fun, to go be with your lady, take her somewhere totally unique and new that you haven't done, and do stuff that you've been wanting to do for 10 to 15 years because now you have time. And I can tell you, when you have time and space to think in a fun place, the best ideas I come up with are when I'm biking with the family on the coast and I'm like, oh my gosh, I
right.
have this idea. Let's do that. I come home, I talk into my meta glasses, and then I have another business that's up and running from something that totally coincides with what we do. And that's the most fun you can do, as well as you're now thinking in a bigger way on all the things that you sit on. Like, I mean, yes, you have the lead FBI negotiating hat that you wear, but dude, this is amazing. These other projects that you have, the things that you love doing, you can do them now, and you can pass that knowledge on. So if you wanted to make a business you could with it, but if you wanted to just create for the fun of creating so that you have this thing that keeps your heart going and keeps your mind active and ignites your soul, then you might as well do
Yeah,
that. And
yep.
that's where
Amen.
that's what people should be doing. I think the stakes are too high right now to not do stuff you enjoy, as you know.
Yeah, and I get back to the reason why you became a founder and entrepreneur in the first place. You want to do the stuff that ignites your soul. That's very well put.
Yeah, totally. And I think, with the people that you connect with and that you and I both play with all the time, they've found and unlocked that key, but sometimes it's taken them 30, 40 years of doing the same thing to get to that space where they're like, "Oh yeah, the team handles this, the team handles that, but I do this." But they still have this level. I mean, the ultimate player in this game, obviously, when you're on Necker Island, you watch Richard Branson. like kite surf into lunch. It's like I'm
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever seen more women just like drooling in my life. It happens every time I go there. Like you watch him fly in like James Bond. It's the funniest thing ever. And even I was like, Ray, look at me, not him. Look at me. I think it's so funny that he's cracked the code in a way. Like if that is something that fulfills you. For me, I know that we've built so much space into this that now I can work on this with you. I'll be like, oh, and then with Wendy, I'm like, Wendy, what else do you need for Music Soul? How do I find you some more people? You can do that thing where you say you find interesting people and do cool shit with them. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the idea. I think you're never going to look back and go, I wish I would have worked harder on this one business. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, remember that time we took Rafa to Chris and Wendy's house and he threw spaghetti on their super nice table or all the things that he did. God, you guys are patient. And I think it's just like that is the urgency of why I think it's so great we're putting this together for our audiences is that if you don't grab it now, it's gonna slip by, and people are just missing the opportunity left and right, and they're using not only are they using when I say AI, there's probably five tools that I love in my bucket. They're using them all wrong because I use that Manus one that you saw with the website. I use Claude and the three levels of Claude. And then I also use Whisperflow. And then there's a couple different things on learning how to stack all these together so that when somebody sees those three things, they can completely shift and change the way that their company's operated. I know even when we sat down with your team, I showed them three different things just to be like, here you go, let's try these. And even the person that does your scheduling, right? She was like, oh, I just coded this app to do this, to manage this, to make the bookings of all of Chris's travels that much easier. I mean, to speed the implementation, now your team's a strategic force to be reckoned with. I called them Strike Force One when I was on the call with them. I was like, oh, here's Strike Force One. Let's go. And even, CJ and everybody, they're like, oh, yeah, we'll think like this now because they can equip themselves with your knowledge base and then frees you up so you're not having to ask other questions. And in fact, we have a skill that we've built. It's called the Black Swan Negotiator skill. And oh my God, you're gonna love this. So I used it on I use it in an automation that runs every week so I don't miss any of my financial opportunities. And so it runs as a schedule, and it's something I'll show you. It runs as a scheduled task every 3 or 4 days. And what we'll do is it will pull from my messages, text message, emails, and my Slack messages, as well as anything else I want it to. And it will find new things for me to get opportunities on. It found one of my old DJ clients. It's called Go High Level. So I play their events all the time. Their event comes up in October, but it said, Sammy, I just sent a negotiator message to the Go High Level team to make sure they book you again. Do you want me to send that? And I looked at it and it said, would you be opposed to? And I
All
was
right.
like, oh
No
my
oriented question.
God.
Nice.
And it positioned it. And then it said, it was a really well written email that I had coached it to do. And it said, last year I played for 8 grand. Would you be opposed to, if you have allotted budget to get me up to my normal rate? And they wrote back to said, no, we would not. And I said, awesome. And it was writing this thing for me. It got me from the normal price that I was doing for them. It added another 2K, which took like my booking fee to where it normally is. And for somebody like me who gets lost in emails, it added a couple grand to that booking engagement without me doing anything. And so that's what was nuts. And I was like, oh, I owe Chris for that one. But it was, I mean, that happens all the time. So those types of things they get unlocked all the time for us. So yeah, it's excited to see those things in work. But when you take the things like you have, like with negotiation, the Black Swan principles, and what you've done. And yes, the book is like a sliver of that, but just like when you and I were talking, I recorded a couple different things that we were talking about. you can take that and turn that completely into an automated workflow or an automated messaging system or something that you pull in your program that teaches because that remember that girl that ran up to you in like the School of Hard Knocks and she did that interview with you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've taken that, we've turned that into a whole system of things that you can coach your team on how to negotiate and how to think like that. And it's taking even little bite-sized chunks like that and expanding them, just like the thing I did with the meta glasses. And it's for founders, I found that it is wildly fun for them to run a business again. It's so fun when they're like, "Oh, let's do this. Let's do this." And I think one thing that they all tell us too, Chris, is it's a legacy piece. So their kids are now seeing how much fun it is to be an entrepreneur or the responsibilities that they have, and they can show them in a compressed way, like, hey, this is what we do. This is what I did. When your dad started this, this is why I did it. And this is how you can do it in a few years instead of 50 or 60 years. And that's crazy, crazy power.
And to dial back to one thing that you were talking about too when you were working my team, Danny, my assistant, before, she's now keeping up easily with what it took two people to do before. And we'd
Wow.
always had a fair amount of turnover because, you work on a Black Swan team, you're a championship team. I mean, we work really hard. And we'd always had trouble keeping up with all the tasks around me.
Mm,
And two people were drowning before you showed us the tools and sort of ignited Danny. She has been ignited by this. And she's
that's
handling
amazing.
easily stuff that it took two people to do before.
Wow. That's great. That's great to hear. And then maybe after we see you guys again at the end of the month or in July, I mean, she's going to be a 10x force. And that's the idea, right? That's the idea is to turn people and their teams into a complete multiplier and a catalyst for everything that they're doing. Because I know you have huge, huge plans. I mean, that's just how you work. And so to have a team around you that can do that and manage it is like a super tough task to do in general. So equipping people with that is definitely one of the cool, it's not even, it's a symptom of the root of them feeling, oh, I can do this, right? It's the
Yeah. Yep.
confidence it builds.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, they learn how to do it, but man, watching that team's identity change, that's the biggest thing. We watched their identity change in a couple hours rather than like bringing in a. I like coaches. I like people that are like rah, rah, rah. Here, let's change the mindset of everybody. But I'll be damned if somebody came in and is like, I'm going to change your mindset by showing you a skill that's going to blow your mind and show you how to actually learn something, apply it, and do it again. And learn something that usually takes 20 to 30 hours. I'm going to show you how to do that in 30 seconds. So you see the result and then you can kind of go backwards on, oh, why did that work so well? That is the new paradigm of learning it to me. Because you don't have to think about, okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. Like I'll show you what the calculator does, and then we can let's do the big thing and then work backwards because there's so much stuff right now with the speed of what the how the world's working that you don't have to learn the little things. You just need to ask what you need. Like it's all results based prompting right now and
Yeah.
results based
Yeah.
creating. So hey, we need the Black Swan Group to make 40 million next year. What are we doing? Here's where we're currently at. Close this gap for us. Show us what needs to happen. And it's a rule that I call 10-80-10. 10% on the big Disney vision, 80% you let that technology, in this case AI, lift all the ideas, and it's gonna, when I say lift the ideas, it's pulling from the biggest and the best people in the world to show them what they're doing and then using that to really compress time so it's doing it for you. And then the 10% on the other end is you refine it, right?
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, when you iterate it, then you ask it a slightly different question. Like, and I was messing around with one of the AI tools that you showed me the other day, and I'm trying to create this image, and I said, look, I can't, I'm not giving the AI the right instructions. So finally, I say to it, look, that just looks weird. Can you fix it? And it went, oh, let me take a look. And it said, you're right. Okay, I see now what's out of that. And my highly evolved prompt was, Hey, that looks weird.
I know. What's so funny too, because a lot of times people will ask us like, hey, Sammy, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? And I'm like, uh, I don't know. Let me ask. Let me ask
Well,
how you
you're
do it.
playful with it too, because
Yeah.
when I remember when the night you were working on Wendy's website, you gave it a couple more instructions, and then you went, "And I love you," and it came back to you and said, "I love you too."
It's I mean, who knows when this whole, whatever it is that Terminator side Cyberdyne comes through, I'm sure there'll be some sort of well, here's the thing. The way you do something is the way you do everything, is what I've heard. And I fully believe that. If you're in the process, as I talk to a lot of people that talk to this technology like complete garbage. I'm like, whoa, how do you I mean that's like a mirror of how you are. If you're not having fun doing this and you're not being playfully engaging, um, then it's not as I don't think it's as rewarding. However, there is a caveat. You do need it to push back on you. Like that's why we don't use Chat GPT. Chat GPT is like it's a complete people pleaser. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, do that. Everyone's jumping off of a cliff and smashing their face. It's great. It's a great thing. It will do that. So what we do is we like to install prompts that are a lot more resolute, and they have a more and they're pushing back on you. So it's called what the MCP we have. It's your ruthless mentor. It's like I want you to poke holes in my ideas until it's totally waterproof and push back on it. And so mine are always like that. It's probably like your instructors were for you and how you are for your students. And that way you get real results. But there is a level of how to coach it. There's 12 steps on how to make sure you're using that tool, like especially with Claude, and how to use it like a full-on eight-figure CEO that we've curated and created. Because if you don't, garbage in, garbage out, it's a lot better garbage. But if you put it in properly, oh man, Chris, you can just create whatever. It's you can create the most dynamic stuff. And I heard this once, and this is the craziest thing. We are not the smartest things on the planet anymore because AI can get so much information so fast. If you were to look at it at a macro level, me trying to play chess against an AI, there's nothing close. It's the only thing it can't do is beat instinct, enjoyment, and spirit, which it will never have. But that is a crazy concept to think of. It's like, oh shit, we're
Well,
not the smartest people.
there's certain like the guy that founded OpenClaw, asked him, "Is the human factor still needed?" And he said, "Well, the human touch was needed every step of the way." And
Mm-hmm.
to me, the difference is what you just said, instinct. I
Yeah.
think there's something actually quantum physics related to human instinct, which AI is never going to duplicate. And even though AI can beat a human on a chessboard is bounded by specific rules. It's two dimensional, it's alternate moves back and forth, there's limitations, and when the queen moves, the rook doesn't move because he's scared, or the
Right.
knight doesn't move because he's scared. And the reality that humans can deal with, it's not bounded by the rules that chess is bounded by rules that reality is not bounded by, which is why, in my view, the human touch will always be needed.
Always be needed. Absolutely. I think it's a fine line too, because I have a few friends that are psychologists and psychiatrists, and one of the things that is really scary is that I talk to a lot of them, and the this is something that I'm looking deeper into and touching on is what people rely on AI for right now, almost more than anything, is actually companionship and consulting.
And
And I'm like, what? Like at some of the conversations that they were telling me about, they were listening to this guy's conversation. He goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go make dinner. Do you mind sticking around so we can talk some more later?" And this thing came back is like, "Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. Go have a great dinner." It's like the conversational part of it, it was terrifying. And everyone, I think there's this level of like, whoa, of responsibility that we have, especially somebody like you, that's like, this is a tool. Let me show you how to use this as a tool. Because for you in the negotiation space, there's probably some things that it could pull to help you negotiate, but nothing is going to negotiate better than you with that.
I I I support that. I support that proposition. I fully
So,
support that.
question for you too, with all the stuff that you've built, all the amazing people you've met, and the things that you are currently working on. What is one of the things that you're the most excited for with learning this from us, and what we can't wait to teach you?
Well, one my our business partner now, who also Jonathan Smith is our EOS coach. He co-wrote "Fight Less, Win More." He told us a
Mm.
long time ago that most businesses don't die of starvation; they die of indigestion. Because as soon as you become successful, the amount of opportunities that come at you and the ability that you could reach out to with a great product is limited, and you're trying to digest all that, and you die of indigestion. And what I'm really excited about is the opportunity really to have much more of a global reach because the book sells well globally, but we can't get
Mm.
to everybody. So managing that in a way where we can be supportive, get rid of all the stupid human tasks, as CJ likes to say, that sucks up my life. You know, how many emails do I delete on a daily basis? And
Right.
and how much then can I reorient to focus on people that want to connect? And not everybody in the world wants to connect. Not everybody wants to actually become a more collaborative negotiator. But since if the book sold 6 million copies worldwide, there's a ton of people out there that we're not helping
Oh
get to the
yeah.
next level, and we want to reach these people so that everybody enjoys life more.
Yeah. I would I would echo that sentiment for sure. Your reach is it's big, but it should be global. Absolutely.
And
And
our
in
ability
fact,
to
as
follow up.
and the ability to follow up. We did that. Remember when I was with your team, I talked about having the ability to do the reach out from the stage and that get it in their pocket and do that. So I had the opportunity to do that at an event that I did, and I built that page with the ability to follow up. So I said, scan this QR code, and by the time I'm done talking, it's going to give you a poll of who you are, what you do, and what is going to be the best tools that you need to use before we're done talking. And that's going to help you guys get ahead before you go to the next session, just so you guys know. Everyone obviously scanned the QR code. It worked out great. And then I was noticing people are just like watching their phones and then like looking at each other and they're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, It's working. It's working." And
Yeah,
it's like
right.
so fast in real time. So I think for your global reach, I totally see you on those big stages starting to talk. And you're like, by the way, when you're done, you're gonna have a Black Swan dossier and a printout of how you can be the best negotiator in whatever thing you need to do next, as well as the best course to take, the best course of actions to take, and the thing that you need to do from us that's going to get you to the next level of your life or wherever it is. It's a total video game. It's such a video game to me. I love it.
Yeah.
But that's what I see for you. You got 20,000 people in the audience, and you got 20,000 people that you're supporting and lifting to the next level, and you're doing it in five minutes. So now they're so attached to the Black Swan group, which they should be. It's like that's I
Cool
see that
thing.
for you guys.
Yeah.
But we're gonna create that with you. So absolutely. I love it. The global movement. Perfect.
Ooh. All right. So
Yes.
what do we got? About 12 minutes left here.
Hmm.
What did we not cover this time?
CJ, anything that you can think of that we didn't cover? I got um we've
Um,
got some great stuff. We didn't really necessarily talk about the day or anything, but I think we can just market that and just put that on the back end if you want, unless you want to talk about the day itself. What do you think,
What?
CJ?
Why don't we set up? And CJ, I'll bet we can get Danny to set up another uh, half hour, another hour in the next couple days.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Do it again because we want that to be fresh, and a fresh conversation of laying that out. I think is going to be the easiest way to do it.
Cool. I love though the stuff that we got to cover. I think we covered the big rocks on why people are doing it. I think maybe too, from your lens, what might be useful too. I use a framework that's called BINGE, and BINGE is an acronym that stands for bring attention to a big problem, insert an emotional story, name the problem again, give them a way out, and empower them to take action. And it's a story brand framework, but kind of in your vision. And the reason I say that is, do you feel that as a founder at your level, that there is a big problem with people not adopting this technology? I was just wondering if that's something that you've run into or people that you talk to, because I'd love to hear from your perspective if you're like, because you're adopting this and you're bringing us in house to do that. Do you think that in your perspective there's a big shift or something that people need to be looking at and why they're not adopting this? Because I see the biggest problem I see is that founders just don't do it. When I talk to them, I'm like, why haven't you done this yet?
I,
What is the deal?
I think I think the problems are it's similar to the problems with being a better negotiator. There's a lot of unnecessary friction that you think just goes with the territory. It's just part of the life process.
Mm.
And so you have no idea. Jim Camp said a long time ago, if you try to describe a helicopter to somebody who's only flown crop dusters, they're going to say, look, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't relate to that. Just that makes something that goes straight up from a standing position, that makes no sense to me. So people being unaware of how much time they could save. Or the other thing up to now, most new skills it's been a dense, almost painful process to learn them. And I think at this point in time, the real issue, what we really saw with you, was that it wasn't a painful process to learn the skills. It was fun and it was easy. And when you find the right tool for the right application, you can say something to it like, "Hey, like this looks weird to me." You don't need to have 8 hours of classes to know what the prompt is. So seeing how the curation of the tools and how easy it can be to learn it instead of the learning process being painful.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, that's interesting too, because teaching people the hardest line to draw is the straight line. It's the hardest one to teach sometimes when people, no, man, I like to go this way. Why would you
Right.
go from here to there? That's so interesting. I love that. Okay. That summarizes exactly what I'm running into with founders. Why, especially the old school founders. And then once I do crack the lid for them, that's why I applaud you and acknowledge you for seeing this and then holding on to it and being like, yeah, we
Yeah,
should do
I love it. It's fun. But, old school, last century guys like me, people have been around. Look, if you've been in business any longer than 10 or 15 years, most of the learning has been painful. And it's like
yeah.
trying to learn about the world by reading the encyclopedia. The encyclopedia is completely accurate and it's just dry. I mean, it's like,
Totally.
you try to read it at night, it puts you to sleep. It's not any fun instead of it
Yeah.
being delightful.
Yeah, no, totally. I love it. Well, that sounds great. So, CJ, we'll get booked on. Thanks for answering that for me. I was just kind of wondering what you're seeing, and that answered it for me. Um, do you have anything else you want to cover on this, sir, Chris?
Not right now. Laying out the day, um, clearly and succinctly, and I'm sure that's going to take us less than a half an hour to
Yeah,
capture that next time. 15 minutes to
totally.
30 minutes. So it
15 minutes,
should be an
30.
easy one to put into the calendar.
Yeah, totally. And then I also found a really cool one of our clients. They would love to be a sponsor and bring in coffee. They have great nootropics. Here, I'll show you. It's called Brain Bean. I'll have them send